Bow. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see if it's working. Diddly-doo. On channel and see if this video is streaming. Hi, can people hear me? Is it working for you? Sound weird? No, it sounds alright. Down on Chinatown, lads. What is the crack? Bum bum bum. How is? What's the crack, lads? How is keeping? I'll throw it up there. Oi, oi, apple pie. What's up, all? What's the story? What's the story? So we're staying busy. It being October, we're making the most of it. And I don't actually need this headset at the moment. I'll take. As I was saying, what's the crack, which is? Yeah, I'm just trying to make the most of Orktober. It's a bit hit and miss. So I've got me Spree Freaks pre-order in. I'm sure you guys do too. See me too. I know it's amazing the wonders of technology. You would not believe the hassle I have had to try and get these two cameras, these two webcams to work at the same time. I used two C920 webcams, and the problem is when you try and adjust one while the two of them are plugged in, it affects the other. It's something with the software. It seems to one overrides the other, so you have to unplug one webcam, adjust it, plug in the other webcam, and adjust it. And then it looks like this is having a bit of a hissy fit. What's going on here? What's going on here? Shenanigans. Shenanigans. See if it's streaming. Did the stream drop there for a sec? Look. Be live. Anyway. What was I saying? Yeah, well, I went to Warhammer World this month. It's been Orktober. I've got me pre-order in for Speed Freaks. I've gotten some more commandos. This is what I'm going to be doing now. We're still waiting for the codex, so I haven't written out a 2,000 point list. But I do know I want commandos. So what I've done in the past is I've bought the Forge World kits, which are pretty pricey for what they are. But I want to do up at least one unit of commandos in this Forge World commando kit. And as you can tell, you get like a resin backpack. You get a resin head. What's it saying here? We have orc stuff. I can hear you now. I can see you too. Stream health. Oh, that a good stream is healthy. It's saying the stream is healthy, but it keeps dropping every now and then. Ew. Quoting software, stream info. Going live. It's saying it's live, but it keeps dropping. Is there technical problems on this part? Go to the advanced settings. I think it keeps dropping. No, the settings seem to be alright. Live dashboard. Click on more. See, these streams never go to plan. There's always something wrong. Always something wrong. We'll have a look there. Real time entry. Alright, so it's on ultra low latency. But I don't know why it keeps dropping though. The neighbors must be using all the internet, the bastards. But I've nothing else plugged in, I swear. I know, the stream keeps dropping. So yes, we have Forge World commandos. And they come in box sets. I think I bought more. I bought a couple more. These are from Forge World themselves. They cost an arm and a leg. I would not really suggest buying them, but I'm a bit of a nut. And I was in Warhammer World, so I decided to kill two birds with one stone while I was at it. So that's what I'm trying to build now. As we're still waiting on the codex, I don't quite know. We have different people saying different things. So Orc Stuff said the stream dropped. Steve-O was saying hey hey. Steve-O was asking, are you suffering MEO issues, buddy? Not a feeling from my last vid. Mech issues. Yes, mech issues. Yes, the Gretchen have probably got their hands on my router and are probably dancing on it at the moment. Either that or they've logged in and they're trolling me. We're building commandos. I have a few of them here. My goal is to get a unit of 10 of these guys built up eventually. These are the Forge World commandos. I will be having commandos in my army because they're blood axe, as you can tell. 6+ Steve-O was saying, little bastards. Yes, they are. Those little Gretchen or gremlins getting in on the router. They need a good proper kicking is what they need. So what we're doing is we're mucking around with commandos, and I have a few bits and pieces. Now, if you give me a second, I'll show you the pack. Now, right. So what I'll show you is, this is what you get. So when you buy the conversion kit, it doesn't really, it's all just in here. It's £21, so it's not cheap. Plus you also need some boys, and as the rest of you all know, I'm in no short supply of boys. I've several hundred, I would reckon, at this rate, still yet to be built. So it doesn't really bother me to buy these bits. But for people starting out, it's probably less than ideal because you've got the price of the Forge World stuff, and then you have the price of the boys on top, so it's a bit expensive. But this is what you get. If you've never had commandos before, I suppose we're doing an impromptu sort of unboxing. You get 5 backpacks, you get like 5 standard heads and the knob head, which is mounted backwards compared to the rest of them, and then you get the bits for the knob. So he gets like a huge chopper. It's like his forearm for one side, his banner pole, and his torso. So if I put it in shot, it would kind of probably help. Like in. There we go. There we go. Look. It helps if I put it in shot. So. Backpacks. Helmets. And they're all gas masks. And torso. So this is what you get for £21. 21 of the Queen's finest pounds. We have Orc Stuff. Your close-up camera is mirrored. Is it supposed to be? Yes, I think so. I don't know. Maybe. Like the hassle I've had. Alright, this one's mirrored. Hold on. I can fix this. I can fix this. I'll go into the settings. Now I can flip it. All I can do is... Uh-oh. Just died on me. No. Grand. Right, it's mirrored. Whatever. I'm just... the less I mess around with this at this moment in time, the better. So we have Orc Stuff asking, is the close-up camera supposed to be mirrored? Well, it is now. We're going to leave it like that because otherwise it'll go shap-do pair. 6+ Steve-O saying, Blood Axe Ard Boys are going to be great. 4+ with cover special rule. That'll be interesting. We have Odin on Xbox with his message retracted. Didn't hit it hard enough. Orc Stuff is saying I haven't hit it hard enough. That's true. I need a bigger hammer. It's always the solution to any mech's problems in regards to getting stuff to work. So what I'm trying to do, as I'm rambling on a bit, is I'm trying to get my Forge World commando unit built up. And normally what you do is you drill out the barrels. But what I'm trying to do myself, if I can get it, Irene, I'm trying to get tubing. Note to self, have things prepared for your stream before you decide to stream. I'm trying to get some tubing, sheet styrene, not sheet styrene, some styrene tubing. I'm trying to get it all cut, and in order to do that, we use our circular cutter or our tube cutter, which I've also moved before the stream because the place is a mess. So I use this micro like tube cutter, so you can buy it in like a DIY store. If in doubt, give it a clout. That's right, lads. If in doubt, give it a clout. So we have a tube cutter. I use a tube cutter for the tubing that you can buy. It's like evergreen stuff brand that I tend to buy, and since the camera is mirrored, I'm not gonna bother putting it in camera. But it's a styrene tubing, and my idea that I'm thinking of is if I give all the commandos silencers. Now I had the correct size tubing stashed somewhere, but I've sort of moved it elsewhere, so we'll leave that for later. But for now, I found it. Totally unprofessional. Right. So, this is what I wanted to do. Pretty sure I have two of them set up. That one fits into the other one. What you like to do is size up the tubing so that I can get silencers made. I spent most of today googling images of silencers. So you want something that's the same diameter. So this tubing is the same diameter as the barrels of the sluggers. So that's the one that we'll need to cut. And then we need one that fits over this. And it looks a bit redonkulous, but I think this one works here. So that's what I'm thinking. So we'll do like a little piece like that. Something like that. And we'll do silencers. But they're gonna look huge, man. This is the problem. Because if you look at real world silencers, they are bigger than the barrels they attach to. You know, they're wider. So that's my game plan anyway, is to try and give them some form of silencer. We'll try that out now. Like, how big will you make it? The same size as the pistol, maybe? So we'll size it up. We'll have a look and give it a bash. We have all of our rod for the rivets and whatever else. Of a few other bits and pieces I could I'll actually show you what I've been working on. It'd be awesome if I had all this prepared, but I didn't. I just wanted to do a stream and show you guys stuff. So I have my carry case here, and I will show you the bad moon that I was talking about painting, and then we have my blood axe knob as well. We have Mock the Nerd 5 has shown up. Hello, Mock the Nerd 5. What is up? We have the blood axe knob that you guys have seen, and I've only thrown a bit of green onto this guy. I haven't really started him as such. We were playing a mega battle when I was in Warhammer World with my mates, and yeah, it was massive. I think it was like 36,000 points altogether, and it was just pure orcs, and it was impressive. And I've just to put the video together, I took a load of images. Normally what we do, we're on a forum called the WA forum, so we meet up roughly every 6 months, and we used to meet in Warhammer World. But sadly, I think this is going to be the last meet we do in Warhammer World, as they're phasing out the feature tables that we use. The big tables, they're going to be phasing them out so they can have bigger events for people, because they want to do doubles tournaments and things like that, which is understandable. It's a pity in the long run for us, but you know, we'll have to find other things. But it's understandable. We were there and there was a doubles tournament on, and nearly every single standard table was being used for the doubles tournament. And I think it was like 180 players or something like that. There was a lot of people there playing. As you can tell, like, there'd be like 4 people for every table. So it's busy, busy, busy. We have Phil saying silencers for commandos. Awesome stuff. Mock the Nerd 5. There was a lot of stuff there. It was crazy. It was indeed crazy. Mega battle is awesome. Oh, we have the bad moon knob. I'll stop jumping out of camera and we'll try and sort it out. So this is my blood axe knob. I showed you guys before. Green stuff tubing. I managed to get that filter in, so I'm happy about it. And I'm quite happy with the way he turned out. I was thinking about putting a beret on him, but I like how he sort of looks a little bit like Bane with his mask, sort of, so we'll leave him alone. I think he's done for now. And then we have the Bad Moon guy I've been working on. So this is the Bad Moon WA banner knob. I scratch built all of this Bad Moon symbol. It's made from 2 layers of plastic card, and I didn't want it to be too regular. So what I do is I cut out the template, and then I did a mirror on the back. So the back of it is similar. And I got lazy, so I didn't I didn't bother with rivets on the back as much. Just this piece here because it started to actually fall apart. And that's just sheet styrene rod as well. And then I did a little bit of green stuff at the bottom just to give it a rim because I wasn't happy at how bare it looked. This is his shooter. I need to put something on this end of it though. I'm thinking about doing like a collapsible stock or like a wire stock. So I might do a stock that comes out into his shoulder just to give it a bit more balance visually. Because this is, yeah, it looks pretty front heavy, but this is all built up. So this was a slugger. So this piece here is the core of it. That's the slugger that was originally in the knob's hand. And then you have the barrel of a shooter on the top here. And then what I've done is I cut the pistol part, the grip part off of another shooter and just attached it on the bottom there. So that's, this whole piece here is a shooter. That's the front off a shooter. That's a slugger. That's pretty much what shooters are. They're just sluggers with barrels on them. And then I just put some styrene in between to get the levels correct so it all lined up correctly. And then I put like a couple of rivets to sort of visually tie it together a bit. And then I'll just put a scope on it because I thought a Badmium would have like a super swanky scope. And we have Philippe Carrel saying, what do you guys think of the Evil Sons? We have Mock the Nerd saying, it looks pretty awesome, better than mine grey stuff work. Base stuff will probably be playable with Evil Sons, but new stuff is overpriced in points. Saying basically very orky, just two shooters stuck together. That's pretty much it. That's really what it is. Philippe says that's a really cool custom shooter. Steve-O is saying it's a cracking looking gun. We have Bob the Meme. Did I just hear lined up correctly when dealing with Orc Scar? You disappoint? Well, he's a Badmium, man. You know, it all has to be lined up. You can't be lazy because if you're lazy with it and it doesn't line up, it doesn't look visually good. You know what I mean? Like if one barrel was pointing this way and one barrel was pointing that way, you'd just be like, I know orcs are comical, but they're not that comical. So yeah, I did a fairly decent job on his shooter. There's a ammo grot on his back just for because he's a Badmium. Why not? Like he'd have a shed load of bullets and guns. I did a little bit of green stuff work on the back of his neck. You're not really gonna see, just so I could get that head at the pose I wanted, looking sort of along the line of the shooter. And originally I had the banner pole sort of more horizontal here, but I didn't like how it was blocking the ammo grot, so I actually cut this again and reposed it. And then just to top it all off, because Badmiums are Badmiums, I put some Space Marine helmets. I just drilled holes into them. So you have a Space Wolf one on the top, and then another Space Marine helmet here, just because I felt that the top of the banner was a bit bare. So I decided to go with that. And then just a finishing touch of spent cartridges on the bottom. And then I've just started to sand the base as I do with all of them. So that's how we're looking for the knob for the Badmiums. I don't know what faction to build next. I haven't decided yet. If you guys want to throw in a comment as to what clan I should do next with the WoW banner knobs, because I'm going to do all 6 of them, but I haven't decided which one I wanted to build next. I have my one, my Blood Axe one, and then I have the Badmium here one, because of the bet I made with Steve-O and I lost. So I had to paint a Badmium. So this is the Badmium that I'm going to paint. I'm going to spray him up either tonight or tomorrow. I'll give the old spray boot a go. And then, yeah, whatever you guys decide. I don't know which clan to do next. So if you want to decide, maybe you have a clan that you like. Maybe your Evil Sons or Death Skulls or something like that. I'm not too sure. But if you have a clan in mind, throw it in the comments, and whichever one gets the most, we'll build that one next. So what I've been doing here is I had a standard slugger arm for this guy, and I'm trying to, I've shaved it down because I want it to be more this sort of angle instead of, like originally the arm would have been like this. So I've shaved it back a bit, get more of an angle on it, and then I'm gonna throw in gas mask and a backpack. And I've all washed these already because they have a shed load of mold release, which doesn't help. And just put them together with super glue. So what have we got? We have freebooters have been voted for by Mock the Nerd. Philippe has saying Evil Sons, Bob the Meme, Snake Bites. Steve-O is asking for Snake Bites next. The second best clan. Well, the second best of Blood Axes, of course. Mock the Nerd. Snake Bites would be cool, but you gotta make it real orky, not orky. I do actually have a fair few Warhammer Fantasy orc bits and pieces, so I could probably wrangle something up. But I've an idea as to how we would look. Ideally, I'd like to get a big skull of some sort. Maybe the skull pack. I might have to buy the skull pack from Games Workshop and get. There's like a really big skull in it. I like the look of, and I'm thinking, like if you were doing one for Snake Bites, that there'd be the big skull of something that they've slain up on the top instead of a metal one here. I think that's probably the best way to go about the Snake Bites. I have a few concepts, a few ideas of what I'd like to do if we're gonna do Snake Bites next, but I haven't fully committed yet. We'll see how the Gary Franks is saying freebooters. Bob the Meme. If my clans are a mix of Speed Freaks and Snake Bites, can't wait to see the Codex. Hope the leaked rules aren't just scrapped because GW can't write rules to save their life. Well, I don't know. Like the rules leak that we're getting so far, it's looking half decent. You know what I mean? I'm kind of excited. There's going to be a lot of bad me on Daka. I reckon Steve-O is going to be well chuffed. He said he wants to get himself an old a Gorkanaut. He'll be able to reroll them ones. Cause some chaos. So what are you guys building? We have Steve-O saying the Savage Orcs have great bits for Snake Bites, including cool banners. That's true. I think some of the bits that I have are probably the old Warhammer Fantasy Orcs. I have a fair few of the Black Orc bits. I know of a couple of them. I think I even have one here. I bought this miniature off of someone second hand, and they've used one of the Black Orc heads. So I know I have Black Orc bits. I could do one like clad in armor. I suppose I could do that, and then I have an idea for some of his equipment to do. But this is the look I was going for with this guy. That sort of pose. And then, like I said, we'll build a silencer. What I find is some of these barrels are sort of beveled. So you have to, you may not be able to pick it up on the camera, but it's beveled at an angle. So you have to sort of trim them flush again. Normally it's not too much of an issue, but when you want to put a silencer onto it, I find trimming it back makes it a bit easier in that regard. And then just super glue the backpack on. We have Stomper plus Mech's Workshop from Big Daddy Joe is going to be brutal. I reckon so. I hope that the Stomper becomes a hell of a lot cheaper than what it is, because back in the days of yore, when the Apocalypse Force came out, the Stomper was like 600 points and its guns were way better than it is now. But they decided to just, I don't know, nerf it for the crack. Steve-O's about to start building one of my mech guns. All the Daka. Super Daka. Nice. Get some nice yellow going on them. We have Mock the Nerd saying, I'm waiting for Speed Freaks. £72 online. I'm worth it for 6 bikes, to be honest. I understand what you're saying, Mock the Nerd. It looks decent. I've ordered one, so hopefully it gets here by Saturday. I've also ordered a few other bits and pieces. I think I ordered the Commander expansion for Kill Team. I ordered the Orc Commander, whatever they've named them, the old Grook, the Face Ripper. And then I ordered a couple of vehicles to loot for a project that I have in mind. Some very blood-axy, sneaky projects for future battles that I'm thinking. I have a concept. There's got to be a lot of commandos and sneaky, cunning and brutal tactics. That's what I'm thinking ahead. I like the idea of looters and tank busters and all that type of stuff. So that's what I'm thinking of. Got a few Imperial vehicles lined up to be looted. I was trying to find some online on the cheap, but apparently nobody has this vehicle spare, so I will show you when it arrives. I also bought a vehicle while I was in Warhammer World, but I don't know whether I should tell you or not, because it'll be a fun little project to loot up. We have Mock the Nerd, he's waiting for his Speed Freaks. JK, I'm building a looting night at the moment. I'm going to turn it into a stomper conversion now, and I can't wait. That would be cool, JK. I look forward to seeing videos of that put up. Big Daddy Joe says the Def Cannon chucking out 18 shots is going to be brutal. Should be interesting. It all depends on the points, though. There's no point in giving us a load of dice if it still gets torn a new one by one Imperial Knight. You know what I mean? It needs to come down drastically in points. I'm happy for the boost in damage, but there's no point in taking a vehicle that's still going to cost 800 points or such that can be taken down by one knight. You know what I mean? We have orc stuff. He's saying there's a really nice skull that I used on one of my Death Skulls WoW banner knobs. Pretty sure that came from the Warhammer Fantasy Battle orc boxes. Potentially. I'd have to look and see what's going on, but I'd like an actual skull of some creature. I know there's one in there's like a skull set you can buy off of Games Workshop, and I know there's a really big skull in there, so I might go and buy that just for the big skull. Orc stuff is saying, been painting up my other 20 Borna boys for my Sunborns. Looked at the skull hammer too, but didn't get outdone with it. I know that feeling of a couple of Bane blades that have been asked to be looted, but I just haven't had interest because they got rid of the skull hammer rules. You know what I mean? This is not drawing for me. Right, calling for extreme measures. I could not be arsed holding stuff by myself. El Cheapo Clampo to the rescue. I have a feeling this is going to make an absolute arse of it. Give it a go. Super glue. But yeah, I'm nice that they got the skull hammer back. I have a fair few old school vehicles that need fixing and repairing or building in general. Oh, I've a list the length of my arm that just built. Also a shitload of super glue on this, so I need to be a bit careful I don't glue myself to myself. We've all been there. It's like, what were you doing? How did you glue your fingers together? Well, you know, I was trying to put together some, like, miniatures. And it, didn't quite work out the way that I planned. I ended up with my fingers glued. Usually what happens, we've all been there before. We have Sean Hope saying, for Savage Feral Orcs, I tend to use Warhammer Orcs. Some cases I even use the bows and arrows just cause, well, yeah, they're feral orcs. They don't really care. They'll just try and stab you in the face. We have JK saying, is there anywhere I can get the big orc face icons? They're on stuff like the Stomper's body. Yeah, there are bit sellers, or check with guys who are local in your area. Or where are you based, JK? I might have a spare one knocking around if you're looking for one. We have Steve-O saying, I am shit at multitasking. I'm just trying not to glue my fingers together. Orc Stuff says rubber bands. Rubber bands would be handy if I had rubber bands to hand. It's almost like I didn't plan ahead. You know what I mean? The glued? No, nearly. We have Mock the Nerd saying, love the images from Warhammer World. I downloaded them all because my phone camera is awful and it was all blurred. Yeah, I still have more to go up. That's not all of them. There's still a few more. And I took some like shaky cam videos, but that's my problem at the moment is I don't have a decent phone. I was looking to get an S9, but I spent a lot more in Warhammer World than I should have. And I just don't have a camera at the moment to do battle reports or the like. You know what I mean? And it's a pity because I'd like to get some video done to show you guys, because the mega battles that we do are awesome, and we're planning the next one already. But I don't think it's going to be in Warhammer World. We haven't quite decided amongst ourselves where exactly we would like to have our next battle. I'll decide on what head I want to put. I think I wanted to put this head on him. What do we have the guys saying? Sean Hope says things like sorry, I can't even talk. Things like war bikes become ball riders with DACA guns attached. So I've seen a fair few decent conversions, Sean Hope, with people doing exactly that. I think the Age of Sigmar Orc box set. Is it like the starter box set? Seems to be pretty good value because people do exactly that. They turn the boar riders into bikes and they convert the boys over. We have Orc stuff saying you took shaky videos. I did take shaky videos, Orc stuff. Clearly not as shaky as whatever you were throwing around. But fair play to you, man. At least you uploaded a video fairly sharpish. And, it gives people an idea of the battlefield. And it's impressive. It really is. The amount of people who came over to us when we were in Warhammer World playing our game. And you have to remember, this is 36,000 points of just orcs. The amount of people who came over and just had a smile on their face. It was cool, man. I like that aspect of it. You know what I mean? You just bring a smile to people's faces because they're just like, orcs are ridiculous. It's exactly how it should be. We have Bob the Meme. Procrastination Station linked to you, Scar. Yes, Procrastination Station linked to me because I run Procrastination Station. That is that's my page. I use it to pimp myself and other orc players. If I find something interesting, I'll throw it up there for the laughs. We have Philippe saying, did you ever get to play Gorka Morka again? I remember you showing an unboxing of the set, but never knew if I played a campaign. Oh my god, man. So I did, yeah. I have a really old video of an unboxing of Gorka Morka, but it's terrible. That video was absolutely shocking. I should really redo that that video. That was done years ago. You have to remember, I started this channel back in 2009. I started this channel years ago, back when you couldn't have videos that were longer than 10 minutes. So if you look at my battle reports, it's all really rushed. I'm like trying to get as much done as quickly as possible. And the equipment I was using then, the audio is just, when I look back on that video, I just cringe. It's so bad. It's just shockingly bad. Have I gotten to play Gorka Morka since then? I've gotten to play a little bit. I haven't managed to pull the finger out and get more played. I have a guy locally who wants to play a few games. We just haven't gotten together to get some games played because I've been distracted with either building orcs, getting ready for the mega battle, or playing Kill Team. I've actually started playing a fair bit of Kill Team. I got another game in. I got my first game in with the orcs. We played a couple of games of Kill Team on the last Sunday gone, and that was fun actually. It was good crack. We have JK saying, when the next two bald knobs, really enjoying that. You should talk to Steve-O in that regard as to when our next episode of Two Bald Knobs is. I don't know if I'm on like super secret squirrel orders as to when we're making the next one. I'll leave that executive decision up to him, whether he wants to tell people or not. We have Mock the Nerd. Oh god, just looked at my channel about section. I joined in December 23rd, 2007. My god, I thought I was bad. Yeah. Yeah, you don't realise, like, time flies. Just give me a second, and I'm gonna grab the rest of me bits so we can get more, Oh, actually, we have some here. We get some more bodies together for these commandos. I'll see what way we want to build them up. I am thinking... I like this guy, I actually quite like this guy. He looks interesting. So I'll cut that flush and flatten it out. And we'll put the silencers on. I think I'll leave the silencers to another video, because who really wants to sit there and watch me doing this like for about 2 minutes? Mind you, I could do it, like, I don't know. I don't think it would make for very entertaining video in the long run. So what we'll do is we'll join up more torsos and have another bash. I'm thinking he'll have an L stabby one of them, and we'll give him a torso that isn't too armored, because commandos aren't really armored. I'm thinking that torso, and I'm thinking maybe this slugger, and then we'll pick this gas mask. There you go. I did, like, for building units and commandos, this isn't value for money at all. I should really be converting stuff with green stuff, but I really like the backpacks and stuff. I think it looks cool. It's just, yeah, I'm just a lazy bugger really at heart. We have Bob the Mean sent you a message on Procrast with what I'm working on. Sweet man, I'll have a look when I get the chance. When we're finished the stream, I'll go on and I'll have a gander. 6+ Stevo has made an executive decision and has said, 2 bald knobs coming very soon, boys. Probably around Codex pre-order day. There you go. That's what you're being told. Probably. Don't hold them to it now. We don't want you losing the plot. We don't want to have any more Orktober fiascos. You know what I mean? Worst case scenario, we tell you it comes out and it's actually like the next month. But yeah, it is what it is. It's grand. I'm not too bothered. I'm keeping myself busy, lads. As all you should be. We've plenty of orcs to be making and painting. So Bob the Mean is saying, so Steve-O has given us orc stuff in Orktober. If only GW did. Oh, don't start with that one. Don't start with that one. It's like, oh, Codex in October. That'd be the day. Yeah, it's not the end of the world. I got through that stage of it. I just decided, oh, I'll make my own fun in October. I won't depend on other people. Make it for me. Are we all building stuff, painting? What are we up to? I'd like an arm that's probably straight, maybe. Maybe I should do... I'm trying to think of a pose that I'd be happy with. I don't actually like this. I think we'll go for a different slugger arm. We'll have a look. I know I have a slugger in here that's... Oh, there it is, actually there on the top of the pile. This one. I like this one. We might have him doing something sort of... This? Being a bit too picky here. That means we need a different chopper arm. That'll do. We have this slugger arm, this chopper arm. That's going onto the heap for someone else. And this is what I'm up to. So yeah, just building away. Who else has popped in? We have Sean Hope. I've never had much luck using the commandos, even with Snickrot, cover and mob up. It just seems like whenever I feel them, the dice gods are not in my favour. I know how you feel, mate. They're not... I haven't had amazing results with them either. I tend to have a mixed bag of results, but I think... I don't know, I just love commandos. I'm just dedicated to the cause at this stage because I like the Blood Axe clan. That was the clan that sort of spoke to me the most. That's why I collect them. Because it's all like sneaky tactics and stuff and using Imperial vehicles and having a laugh with them, you know what I mean? Like leaving them to be painted up like Imperial vehicles and trying to be sneaky and stuff. So I felt that the Blood Axes sort of spoke to me more than any of the other clans. Like, I like some of the other clans, but, you know, Blood Axes are my favourite. So that's why I went with them. But yeah, commandos, they've been hit or miss for me, but we'll see what happens with the new codex, because if we can get commandos to come in to infiltrate, and then you're getting like, we'll be able to use stratagems where you can spend command points to get something that's like 20 command points. Or 20 power points, sorry, not command points. We can use stratagems to deep strike Gorkonauts and stuff like that. So that's the thing with commandos. You need to use a lot of them or don't bother at all. So if you're going to use them on the assault, you need like big units. You're going to use big units of 15 sort of. And get like 3 units of them doing it at the same time. Do you know what I'd be really interested in seeing? I'd be interested in seeing if they bring back the ability for Stormboys to deep strike in, because I felt they may have just forgotten to do that in the index. Because I feel Stormboys got a little bit neglected. You can imagine if Stormboys could deep strike in again. You know what I mean? They'd wreck face me. Absolutely wreck face. So yeah, that'd be cool. Like some Stormboys deep striking in, the commandos, and then if you had like a Morkanaut or a Gorkanaut, or maybe like a custom Mega Dread or something. Or a Mecha Dread. I wonder how many power points a Mecha Dread is. I'd be interested to see a Mecha Dread deep strike in. That would be hilarious. We have Bob the Mean saying building orcs. These are all chattering away too quick. I'm missing it. So Bob the Mean saying building orc knobs on mecha no boars, using orange jaws boars, holding off on a full conversion because I hope Stormboy is playable in a new codex. Yeah, same here, man. Playable Stormboys would be interesting. He likes going commando. Only on the tabletop. Steve-O saying we're being sneaky gits. That's a given at this stage. Philippe is saying I'm between Evil Sons, Blood Axe, Snake Bites, because almost all my orcs are fantasy orcs converted and death skulls. Well, Philippe, you don't have to pick one faction. It's actually more fluffy the bigger an army gets for there to be more clans in it. Because if you look at how armies on WoW start off, it generally starts off with one clan and the war boss, and as they gain momentum, other clans and other war bosses will join the cause. So if you're playing like bigger games, like 2,000 point games, you could, even that size, fluff wise, you'd expect to see more than one clan mixed in. So it actually makes sense. I know some people aren't happy that they're being forced to use clans in their armies that they don't really want to, but it actually does make sense fluff wise, and it has done for a long time. Because if you look back in the old Rogue Trader days and stuff, you could bring different clans of boys, but the biggest mob had to be your clan to represent like the core of it, the warband. So I wouldn't be too worried about bringing other clans in if you're, unless you're not happy with painting other colors, which I can understand. I've already thought about this. I have a way to get around it. I'm thinking of doing various color camouflages. So if I want to do a Gorkanaut that's bad mounds, I'll do it in like yellows and browns and give it like digital camo. So it's weird sort of camo. So I've thought of how my Blood Axes will get away with it, and painting stuff in different colors, because no two of my vehicles are going to be the same color really. I've various military colors, model air colors that I want to try out. No, you don't have to. Yeah, Philip seems to have thought you only have to pick one clan. You don't really have to. You can build it differently. So we have we have Bob the Meme saying that would be grand if they had the hold rule of deep strike, but lost. Yeah, that's true. Lost guys on ones like the old rules. I'd be happy. It'd be interesting in seeing what freebooters is, because if that could be a catch-all faction and not just Snaz going on Badrook, that would be nice. Well, it depends. If they do freebooters like they did freebooters back in the day, might be interesting. Dave Doggy says, I paint heads with them hanging off a cork on a paperclip wire. I've seen quite a few people who do that. They have like the cork, stab it in, and then they paint it that way. You can get some decent detail in, but when it comes to the likes of standard orc boys, you can't, I'd love to be able to spend that much time in each individual guy, but I tried with my mob of 30 guys and I just got painter's burnout. You know what I mean? Just a bit too much. So I'm just trying to get guys painted tabletop standard, and then going from there. What are we thinking? A nice bit of a gangster lean going on this guy. Something like that. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there in the end. I'm thinking this chopper arm sort of down here a bit. Sort of angled like that. And then he'll have his nice silencer sticking out here. And so I'm thinking size-wise on the silencers, I don't want to be making them like way too long. So the longest probably is about the length of a slugger again. So a slugger's length, maybe a little less, because visually that might make it like way too long. I don't want them to look like shooters. I want them to look like they're silenced sluggers, because that would be cool. And the fear I have is, especially with this tubing, looking at how thick it is. Like, I'm thinking, do I even need this piece here? Like, is this tube too thick? Thinking this tube might be too thick and it might look like shooters a bit too much. So I might just use this thickness tubing here and just glue that straight on the end. What do you guys think? Do you think I should just use this thinner tube, or should I do the sort of double layering that I was thinking with this thicker tube? But I just fear it'll look a bit too much like a shooter. That that might be passable. They just look like extended barrels then. I don't know. I haven't decided. You know what I'll have to do? I'll have to just convert one of them and just stare at them for a while and then decide what I do and don't like between them. We have... Who else has joined in? We have Dave saying hello to Steve-O. We have Dave saying commandos have gone. That's a cheek. We have Hilmir saying I make a little cylinder out of blue tack and put the head on there and then paint. We've heard that, yeah. We all do that. Give it a go. Dave saying the airbrush is your army painter's best friend. I have one, Dave. I have an airbrush. It's right beside me. And I bought an extraction boot. I've just been busy the past couple of weeks. I just have not had the chance to try it out and give it a once over. I even have like me primer and everything. There's a primer I want to try out. The AK Interactive Rust Primer. So the image is mirrored, but it's the Rust Primer. And then I have like a heavy chipping fluid that I want to try out on my vehicles, and I want to try do that with various vehicles and give that a go. So I have everything ready. I just haven't gotten around or had the time to get cracking with it. We have Bob the Meme saying, I tried painting a green tide in bits. It took 20 orcs to realise they would be grey forevermore. Yeah, well, you give up quicker than me. I tried to go to like my best painting standard with a unit of 30 orc boys. I got all 30 of them to tabletop standard, so like basic colors blocked in, and then I got 10 of them actually fully painted with their camo schemes, but it just, it burned me out. I don't think I painted a miniature for another 2 or 3 months after that. We have Sean saying, Storm Boys with Zagstruck, fearless. You can mob up for 40. They become devastating, even slugging up the board. Yeah, man, but I used to run the formation in 7th edition, where you could get Zagstruck, and I think it was 3 units of boys. You could get Zagstruck and 60 boys to deep strike in, and they could attack, I think, at that stage. That was interesting. It went pear-shaped for me once, I remember that. Where if you clip something, because it's a large template, like if you think about 60 boys, it's a fair L big footprint, and you know, it can go wrong. It did go wrong for me in the past. We have Dane saying, without an airbrush, I cannot be in the hobby. I don't blame you, Dave, especially with horde armies. Like, most of my stuff is just grey, man. Like, I have cans I'm trying to repair. Like, I have these cans since the can set came out, and I don't even know when that was. It was a while ago. These are cans I bought when they first came out, and I need to repair arms and stuff like that. And I'm only getting them together now. So that'll tell you, like, most of my stuff, if you've seen, like, some of the videos I've done on the army that I have, most of my stuff is grey. But I'm trying to chip away at it, because I've started to prepare a lot of miniatures. I'm just getting them ready so that they can be primed. So this is another killer can that I have, but I have this guy ready to rock and roll. He's literally sitting in my spray booth, waiting for me to actually use my airbrush. But I just have not gotten around to it. We have more chatting going on. Thinner tube. We have, yeah, there's a bit of lag in the chat, guys. Just in case you're wondering if it's taking me a while to get around. I don't know. It's just the way it is. There's a bit of lag going. So we have quite a few of you saying. JK says the thinner one looks better to me. Philippe says the thinner one. Sean saying the thinner one. Bob, the me. All right, fair enough. I get it. It's pretty unanimous. All gonna be the thinner tube. Grant, ye have spoken. I have listened. The mob has spoken. The mob of boys has spoken. So might even give that a little bit of a bash while I'm chatting away to you. See how long. I'll give that a go. So yes, this is how you use a tube cutter if you've never used one. How ridiculous is this? So you slowly tighten it and you just turn, and it'll be perfect. So you just turn one with your left hand, and you turn the tube with your right, and away you go. You don't really need to worry about it once you line it up. We have 6+ Steve-O saying hello to Dave. We have Ork Stuff saying you can cut their forearms at the thick part of the arm guard and glue them back together with the gun held vertical. That sounds like a lot of effort, but I'm sure it could be done. Forearms at the thick part and guard and glue them back together with the gun head vertical. Sort of, yeah, I get what you mean. Like, you can have sort of, yeah, I see what you're on about in that pose. We have Casey Mad saying, I think it would look fine with the bigger bit on the slugger. Bob the Mean, I wonder if Katata Fish will rear his head now that we're back to orcs. He might do. Dave is saying airbrush tips by Vallejo airflow improver. I think I have some of that. I have, yeah, most of the stuff I have is like Vallejo stuff, because that's what the local gaming store supplies. There is another supplier I'm going to try and get in contact with so I can expand my Model Air paint collection, local in Ireland, so that might be interesting. So what were you saying, Dave? Buy Vallejo Airflow Improver, a couple of drops in the cup when paint doesn't come out, and also clean the unscrewable nozzle and clean it with Vallejo cleaner and look at the tip of the nozzle. I do have a fair few of the bits. My problem is I don't have any practical knowledge, but I've watched a shitload of videos over the years and a fair chunk of the theory. So I have a fair idea of what I'm doing, I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. I have like different stuff like flow improver, I have actual cleaner, I went and I bought like pipe cleaners. I've loads of stuff, I've more stuff than I actually need. We have Philippe saying cans are beautiful models. They're pretty cool, alright. It's just a pity that they sort of nerfed them in the last codex. They made them expensive and then they sort of nerfed their power claws. They used to be like full power claws in the regard that they were the same, like they were proper close combat attacks, but then they give them like can claws, which are a bit naff compared to Dreadnought close combat attacks. So this is what we're looking at here. We have the tube cutter. It's left a bit of a bore on it, but it's not too bad. But more importantly, that's a nice straight flush cut. And just go slowly with your tube cutter if you're gonna be doing this. I find with some of the bigger tubes, so like if you're cutting some of the bigger diameter tubes, there's a bit of flex in giving them. A good idea is to put some of the smaller tubes into it, and that'll support it and prevent it from flexing, and you can get some nice cuts going there as well. We've got one here. Give him a go. Something like that's what I'm thinking. Actually, we'll glue it to this guy so you can actually get the full sort of what it looks like when it's actually done. Sure, it's finished. Just use your standard plastic glue, styrene, and go that end there. Hold it for a couple of seconds. A couple more seconds apparently. And it should bond when it melts. Beautiful thing about this, you don't have to worry about drilling barrels because it's a tube. It looks sweet. I just need to make sure that's lined up, because if it isn't, it would annoy the absolute hell out of me. Give me a second. Looks alright. Look too bad. What do you guys think? I was a bit worried that it would just look like an extended barrel, but it looks actually pretty good, I think. It's alright. Seems to be lined up pretty well. So yeah, that's the plan with most of the guys in this, to give them a bit more of a bit more character, is to give them like silencers, because I figured you're a sneaky Blood Axe commando, you're gonna be sneaky with your slugger, you know what I mean? Yeah, that looks alright. I'm actually not too bad. Looks alright. And then once you prime it and spray it, and combined with the Forge World bits, it'll look class. So there we go. We have, what are people saying in the chat? We have things saying needle Any paint dried on that, then clean. Fine cloth, layout, airbrush cleaner also then work again. That is true, Dave. You do need to clean your airbrush a fair bit, because otherwise it ends up clogged and useless to you. We have 6 Plus Sevo saying, just uploaded a video covering Evil Sons. Bet you were looking forward to my video on Blood Axes, Skarnir. Yes, I'm looking forward to when we do a video. Hey, you do a video. Be interesting. Try not to let the cats out of the bag. We have Dave saying, I just want my Orc Codex. I know a few of the YouTube reviewers have it under their belt, under their bed already. I know some of them do. Me and Steve aren't either of them. Sadly, we don't have a codex, but you know, we'll just have to wait like the rest of you. We have Sean saying, I think the silencer is a very nice touch. That's what I was thinking too, man. Just something to visually tie them together and give them a bit more character and a bit of customization. And it's so simple. It's so simple, and yet like it does so much. You know what I mean? And we have Philippe saying, I placed an order on my codex and speed freaks yesterday. I'm so anxious and can't wait for them to come. We have Dang saying the scenery pieces from those Speed Freak boxes are nice. They do look nice. There's a lot of the bits like the galvanic servo haulers. So if you bought the Kill Team box set, if you look at the round scrap that there is in that terrain set, you'll see that there's bits of like the galvanic servo haulers and whatever else. I mean, a cup of tea's going cold here. I'm talking that much. But they do look class. They do look pretty class. Philippe saying it looks really good. It's the right thickness. It's not the first time I've heard that one either, huh? Orc Stuff is saying if you drill a short hole into the barrel and use a bit of thickish copper wire, it'll give it a better size contact area for the glue. Make it a bit more bounceable. I suppose I could drill, because this thickness of rod you can put, I'm pretty sure you can put some of the, yeah, so you can get some of the, I think this is like 2mm solid rod that I normally chop up for rivets. Has anyone ever tried to pin with styrene rod? Because I was thinking I wouldn't really want to use copper rod. Maybe if you did, like, you drilled into the pistol a bit and then use, well, obviously not that depth, but you get me. If you drilled into the pistol a bit, right, and then you had some styrene rod that goes through and into the silencer as well, and because it's styrene, it'll melt as opposed to the brass rod. Now, it won't be as strong as brass rod, but I think over time plastic glue might be better than super glue. Super glue goes brittle over time, so I don't know if that might be an answer in and of itself to make them a bit stronger. You know what I mean? Like if I was to cut a bit like that long and then get it to join up, because yeah, this guy will probably drop and there'll be bits of silencers everywhere since it is just glued onto the end with on a small contact. We have Steve-O saying our reviews will be better than the big boys' reviews. They don't know orcs like we do. That is true. They don't know orcs like we do, and they're also not going to be as honest as we can be, because when I get my hands on that codex, if I see much as a spelling mistake, I'll be telling you about it. Don't worry. Artie Freeman saying, late to the party, better than not at all. Did I miss much? Sounds like I missed the shout for a cuppa. Yeah, well, stick the kettle on. This one's nearly dead on me. It's just about room temperature at this stage, but it's grand. I need a little cup warmer. Do you ever see those little tea cozies? The USB ones you can plug in like a coaster. I need one of them. I think that's exactly what I need. But yeah, I don't know if I should drill in and put the rod in that one, but I think I'll probably try it eventually. See how it goes. That one's flush. That one's built. We'll give this guy a crack. We have Artie Freeman saying, yeah, pinning the plastic rod is fine with plastic, especially for small things like guns. It's probably going to have to be done in the long run, because I find with miniatures, I like doing conversions, but I don't want to do conversions that are just gonna break off easily. Like, even some of the miniatures that you get, like looking at the assassins and stuff, I'm like, this looks cool and it's very dynamic, but this is highly impractical to transport because at the end of the day, they are wargaming miniatures, and I very rarely play at home. So having a miniature like this looks cool, but like, look how thin those parts are, and this bit, this needle piece on the front of the gun, it's literally a matter of moments before that caves under gravity. I bet you guys can barely even see it. Like they look really cool and it's really dynamic, but they're wargaming miniatures, so I worry about doing bits like that they can just sort of break. You know what I mean? Just from taking them in and out of the case, if it catches on the foam, it'll be ripped off, man. Absolutely ripped off. And that's not the worst of the assassins. Like, look at this one. This is... There's nothing to this. Look, I nearly knocked it out of my hand. It's... Like, contact points are barely touching here. The hair's got a contact point there. This is asking to just be broken. Just from dropping it. You know what I mean? It looks class. It looks really nice. But practicality-wise, wargaming miniatures, these won't last very long in my eyes. And that's why they sit on my desk, unpainted currently. We have Sean saying GW doesn't know orcs like we do. Well, if it's the same guys who wrote the 7th edition codex, that is definitely correct. They did not know anything. Steve was saying, I got a coffee mug with USB to keep it warm. Not used it yet. Oh, I'm very jealous, mate. That sounds like my sort of thing. Right up my alley. Dreadwell Gamer saying, sign into the correct account now. Duh. We all know it's you. Don't worry, mate. And he agrees, none of those big channels that cover everything will be as green, focused, or as honest as us. Well, that's the beauty of it, because we're not, you know, inclined to be on someone's payroll or in looking for someone's favor. We'll probably never get free codexes and stuff, but that's grand. We'll be honest. That's good in and of itself, you know what I mean? I'd rather be honest. But not everyone's that way. We have Orc Stuff saying the needle piece at the front of the gun would be a prime candidate for replacing with copper wire or dressmaking pin. It probably would, but I don't play Imperial and I couldn't be bothered. It's literally, I have all the assassins and I have a load of cultists because I bought the... What's the name? It's some silly Execution Assassinorum Force or whatever that board game is. I bought that when it came out because I like board games. So I thought to myself, oh, Games Workshop board games. What could possibly go wrong? As a board game, it's okay. It's not great. There are much better board games out there, especially at the price point it was at. I think it was 80 quid. And then these assassins. Oh my god. These are like 20 quid a pop. It's shocking, man. That in and of itself is 20 euros. Mind you, I bought some forgeable bits for backpacks. I can't really say much, but I was in utter disbelief at the price of them. It's just crazy. I think I bought a Primaris character, and he was like 20 quid or whatever. You know what I mean? These lone characters aren't cheap. I think I'm just used to being spoilt collecting orcs, where you're buying a box set and in general you get a load of dudes. But then it depends, like there might be like the Pain Boy here. So we have this Pain Boy. I think he's probably about the same price. He's not cheap. You can buy him by himself. And which reminds me, we're doing the giveaway, guys. If you're not in the giveaway for the Pain Boy, you can't win. So go look at the video. It's on my channel. When the stream is finished, go have a look. Find the video. You need to like, comment, subscribe, add it to your favorites, all of that, and I'll send it to you. So we were aiming for 500 subscribers and we're at 600 now. So I need to plan ahead for my next giveaway, which I'm thinking will be about the 1,000 subscriber mark if we get there. It's only taken me 10 years to get to 600, so You know, if you're here in another 10 years, I'm sure we'll get to 1,000 eventually. But yeah, if you're interested in the winning the Pain Boy and the Pain Boy giveaway, and you're not already entered into it, get your ass over to the video after the stream. Get yourself in with a chance of a free Pain Boy, and it does not matter where you live in the world. I will post it to you. It will cost you nothing. If you're not in, you can't win. You know how it is. Have the boys chatting away. Dreadwa says, I plan on being brutally honest for Gork's sake, and honestly brutal for Mork's sake. I got your reference there, mate. I got it. Fair play. I think there will be a fair few honest reviews of the Orc Codex when it comes out. Quite a few people will be haunted. I can't even say it. I'm that potentially traumatized. I hope it's good, and if it isn't, and if it's not up to snuff, I'll be honest, and I'll give you my honest opinion of how I think it fares up to the other Orc Codexes, because I owned all of the Orc Codexes they've ever had. I have a copy of each of them because I went a bit nuts when I decided to go into Orcs. I decided to go and buy all of the books, all the codexes, even Warg the Orcs. I have that, and that's a bit of an interesting one in regards to fluff. So it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it fares compared to previous codexes. It can only be an improvement on the 7th edition codex, which in my opinion was the worst codex for Orcs ever. I apologize if you liked that codex, if it was your favorite. Taking into account it was the last one we had, so if you're new into Orcs and you like the 7th edition codex, hopefully this one's a lot better. You missed out on the 4th edition one, which was half decent. Trying to pose his head. Get it to dry. There we are. We have 6+Steve saying Dreadwa. These mech gun bits got some serious mold lines. Worst part of the hobby for sure. Hate shaving plastic. So now what really annoys me is when you get a mold line on something like that and you have to shave it, and it'll be right down the middle as well, and it's like, oh my god. Or hands across the knuckles. That does my nut in. Absolutely does my nut in. We have Dreadwa Gaming saying shaving resin's worse. Dust is even worse for you. Yeah, you don't want to be breathing in resin dust. That's really bad for you. Orktober is saying tin copperware is pretty good for cleaning out your placky glue dispensing tube. I have old name badges for that. I have old pins from old name badges. I use the pins off of them to give them the once over. I find it builds up around the edge of the nozzle, and I just crack it off with a clippers eventually. We got Casey Mad saying several GW kits I have dealt with lately have had bad mold lines. This one, the latest one I was messing around with, this is an absolute travesty. So, Adeptus Mechanicus, I don't even remember what this gun is called, but it's pretty much like a plasma gun with vents and stuff. And look where they put the mold lines on this, man. They're really bad for it. Like plasma guns and guns like this would have loads of vents. It's like, I get you, mate. You're putting a load of detail in, but you're also putting mold lines across the detail, which is counterintuitive. You know what I mean? Gonna have a nice little silencer there. He won't know him, Schmelf. Sure he won't. I'm gonna throw the backpack on as well. I'm thinking I'll do one unit like this with backpacks and forge wool bits. And then I'll do one of them standard commandos. So we have metal commandos. I'll do one of them like that. And then I'm thinking the other unit I'll do like with berets. Because I've got some berets that I've green stuffed on the likes of Shadow War Armageddon. I bought the Shadow War Armageddon box set, and how I distinguished the boys from the youths in that one was I gave the boys in that kill team berets as a sign of sort of like promotion. So if you were a youth in the Shadow War game, for me, you didn't have a beret, and when you became a boy, you got a beret. That way, you could differentiate them visually if you're my opponent as well. You have to think of like good little mechanics like that. But yeah, I like the idea of having some commandos berets, so I might repurpose the guys off of that. Philippe saying 58 Codex is awesome. By 5th ed, you mean the 4th? Yes, yes, it was. We have Steve-O saying Ladybird could produce a better book than 7th. Probably better fluff for orcs as well, man. We have Dreadwell Gaming saying, yes, it was Warg the orcs with an or. That's true. That's why it's Warg Skarnir, not Wa Skarnir, if you look at the channel. We have Steve-O saying, Meganobs hardly had any at all. Great kit. It is actually a pretty good kit. I've only bought one plastic kit for the Meganobs. I should probably buy more. That's because most of my Meganobs are metal, proper heavy. You know what I mean? Like trauma at your enemy and hurt them type heavy. We have Dreadwire Gaming saying mod lines down plasma guns. Stop. My head is already hanging. Yeah, it's a travesty is what it is, mate. I have Orc stuff saying needle foils are getting rid of mod lines on vents cooling fins. You can get rid of them. I just think it's an annoyance that we don't really need. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be a better way to do it. Henry says, the kill team Death World Forest has the worst mold line. I'm gone on a week now of scraping and cleaning. Oh man, that Death World Forest kit just does not float my boat. Now, if it's your cup of tea, fair play to you, but it is... I just can't stand it, man. It just looks like they tried to texture it too much or something. I don't know. It just visually it looks like a hot mess. You know what I mean? It doesn't really do it for me. So I can only imagine if you had to scrape all the detail off of those threes, it would do my nut in. So good luck to you with that one, mate. We have Dreadwire Gaming saying Meganobs are good for them, yes. One of the best kits for sure. Just needs a 30% price drop. And then he's saying Ladybird, Steve-O, gas. That is true. Yeah, the Meganob kits are pricey. So are the mech guns. They're expensive for what they are, man. It's glue on glue, you bastard. The problem with using super glue. Is it even contacting? Probably would have been better off just like stuff or something. Throwing it on. But alas, we live and learn. We'll do a silencer for this guy next. There we go. There's super glue there. Happy days. We have Colin saying, I'm very new to the hobby, so mold lines don't bother me yet. Because I'm still learning how to push paint around. What advice could we give you, Colin? Starting off, yeah, clean your mold lines, dude. Because there's nothing worse than if you do a really decent paint job and you have mold lines on the miniature, because it really, like, your eye is sort of drawn to them because they're really obvious looking. So just take that extra few minutes just to clean off mold line. You might use like a mold line remover, or I normally just use the back of my blade or the blade, just depending. Hey, if that falls off, I will be annoyed. You can get mold line removers. So there's like this Games Workshop one that came with the subscription, the Conquest subscription, and it's just a blunt piece of metal. And I use it for putting my glue on when I'm using when I'm building with plasticard. I like to put the glue on a metal surface and then dip like rivets in. Pick it up with your blade. You have a crack at it that way. But yeah, I normally just use like the blade or the back of the blade as well, because it's just blunt, and just scrape it, and it works pretty handy. But like I said, it all depends. Like, see, mold lines, you're gonna get them everywhere. So normally I just use the blade. Just clean it away. And in regards to painting, tips for painting, you're better off just making sure that you have your paints thinned, because you don't want to blob on the paint too thickly because it's no bueno. Do thin paints, thin layers, and just work your way around it. I can show you an example of one of the miniatures that I last painted. I can paint alright. This guy isn't finished, but he came with the Warhammer Conquest magazine, and it's like just do thin layers. Oh, this is all just like standard. You know, it's like coloring between the lines with your miniature. It's like, yeah, it's like coloring between the lines, and then you just add a few bits and pieces. But like I said, I haven't finished him. I haven't washed his skin. I haven't done highlights as such yet. But like, that's tabletop standard. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be perfect. You have to take into account most people are going to be looking at your miniatures at a distance of 3 to 4 feet because they're going to be on the tabletop. So if you think of like the distance from your eye down to the tabletop on average, like it doesn't need to be super painted. But when people are holding it up and they're looking at it from this distance, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, you screwed this bit up, you screwed that bit up," you know. So you have to find a happy medium between what you're happy with and then what is realistic painting wise. So that's what my painting is like currently. It's not very fancy. He's not finished yet, but it's getting there. Slowly getting there. Who else is saying what? We have Dreadwild Gaming saying bad meals have expensive tastes. That's true. Saying give it time, Colin. That's also true. You'll notice that the ones you missed the first time, you dry brush over one. Yeah. If you're dry brushing, you'll pick up mold lines like there's no tomorrow. You'll put down a base color and then throw down a dry brush, and you're like, "Oh, where'd that mold line come from?" Unsuspectedly. We're gonna throw a silencer on this guy who we just built as well, which is pretty boring for you guys. Just in case anyone wants to know, these pipe cutters, I got this from my local DIY store, and you can buy them on Amazon. They are cheap. They're like only a couple of quid. I think this cost me like 3 quid or 4 quid. It doesn't cost much. And then it'll tell you this will work with pipe from 3mm to 22mm. So you're happy out. Can't go wrong. I'm just gonna size this up roughly. Roughly about the same. It doesn't have to be perfect, because it's orcs. Nothing has to be perfect. Helps. I like some consistency. Maybe I'm a bit too nitpicky for an orc player. Get me pen. Yeah, feel free to knock it down with pencil as well, man. At least that way you can see it better. Opposed to just cutting it with your blade. Who's saying what? We have Casey Matt saying, yeah, you will learn to have a strong hatred for mold lines. They are absolute bastards. And you're... Oh... Like, you'll be annoyed. If you don't just clean the mold lines straight away when you're building them. Trust me, because I've gone back to miniatures that I built years ago, and I was like, you absolute arsehole. I was so lazy with mold lines. I didn't bother cleaning some of them. And it's an absolute pain to try and clean them when they're fully assembled, which doesn't help. So we're doing the same again. If you don't know how to use a tube cutter, just hold it with one hand and then tighten slowly with this, and then twist. So there you go, you're learning something new. You saying what? We have Casey Mad, and a strong hater of him. Yeah, we have Steve-O saying this bad Mion has spent a small fortune. Oh, I'm way behind on the chat. You catch up. So Steve said this man who spent a small fortune on mech guns and mega knobs recently. I know the feeling. I might show you what I spent a small fortune on myself, which is a bit ridiculous. We have Henry saying I recently finished my Sons of Orc Death Watch Kill Team. Turned out awesome. That's cool, man. Throw up some videos then. Let us see what you've got. We have Steve-O saying bought a truck kit to convert the rest of my mech guns and save some teeth. It's a smart way to save. Get 3 guns out of 1 kit. We have Dreadwire Gaming saying, all the birthday thief gone. I did wonder why you got that truck. Yeah, he couldn't help himself. Just could not sit on that money for too long. Orkstuff says, last mega knobs I made, apart from Wazzy, were knocked up from Assault and Blackreach knobs, combi weapons from the mob's kit, and lashings of milliput. Only got mod lines on the GW bits. Well, yeah, you put enough milliput on them to not worry about mold lines. Casey is saying, I'm gonna hold the next me I see 1 inch from my face like that and critique the paint job my friend did. Lol. It's like I can't see the detail. And we have Sean saying, and time to paint. Taking 20 minutes to paint a single model is fast. When you're painting 50 boys, 25 hours will break you. That is correct, my friend. You need to get a quicker method of painting just standard colors. Just get basic colors on it and then worry about getting the detail later. Because visually it looks better if there's some paint on them than no paint. Dreadwire is saying, it's funny how many perfectionists play orcs. I know, mate. I know. I get nitpicky. And it's not a good habit to have with orcs. Philippe says, that's because you're a blood axe. Dealing with humans makes you nitpicky. Through that. Steve-O saying, birthday thief are all gone. We know that. They burnt a hole in your pocket. We have Colin saying, my sister-in-law is building an anti-Tau orc army. Colin, I think you commented on one of my videos talking about your sister-in-law. That's really cool, man. Got some of the family playing. So if she's going anti-Tau, she might want to wait until the codex comes out so she can do some deep strike shenanigans and get in their face like as soon as possible. What would I do for anti-Tau? I would try and get some multi-assaults done. So you want to be doing the jump. You want to be using that new command point that allows you a new stratagem that allows you to transport 20 power on a teleporter. Want to be using commandos, hopefully the storm boys. Just get in the face as quick as possible. That the shock jump dragster, that'll be interesting. Just get up and close and personal as quickly as possible and wreck some face. What you want to be doing. I'm be interested in the codex and see what happens. We have Isaiah Gittins. What's this tool you're using? It is a plumber's tool. So it is a tube cutter or a micro tube cutter is the term for it. It's basically, it's a screw as you can see there. And it is a pair of rollers. So there's some rollers here. And then there's like a dull blade. So it's not like super sharp. It's like a rotating blade. And the whole premise behind it is you put your rod in. You put your rod in. You put the rod in you want to cut, and you just cut it. You just rotate it, and the whole point is you're trying to get a flush cut. So if it rotates continuously, and you don't muck around with it too much, you get a nice flush cut. Because otherwise, if you're trying to cut rod, and you use a blade, what tends to happen is it'll skew one way or the other, so it won't be flush. It'll be beveled, which is not what you really want. So I would advise, if anyone's planning on doing some work with some styrene rod and tubing, buy one of these. It only costs a couple of quid, man. I'm sure you could find one on Amazon for like 3 quid. I bought this in my local DIY store for less than €5 many years ago, and it's actually pretty invaluable. You know what I mean? The rod sizes it will work with are small, so it's like 3mm to 22. So it's pretty small size rod. But it's great. It's perfect because it comes out and it's a straight flush cut. This is a plumber's tool, so this is actually made to cut copper tubing, but it works fine on styrene rod. So if it's designed for copper tubing, you're laughing. We have, yeah, there you go. See, Dreadwire Game is saying adjustable plumbing pipe slicer. We have orc stuff. I cannot stand having 2 identical vehicles or even grots in my army. I'm well aware of this fact at this stage. Well aware. It's like everything's custom. Very jealous. We have, who is chatting away now? We have Dreadwag giving Colin some advice, I think. That's a mid-cheap armor. They hate dealing with numbers, no big stuff. Micro bore and adjustable pipe slice. Gothenburger brand. I have no idea what. This doesn't have a brand on it. This is a cheapo Chinese, yo. Like I said, this cost me like a couple of quid. Didn't cost me much. So Colin is saying, I'm an Imperial Fist player and my brother is a Tau player. So we were spending a lot of time trying to deal with each other's armies. I always find that interesting. Like, say you're playing against your mate a lot. I'm sure 6 plus Stevo suffers with this with reroll Joe. It's like they know what you have in your army. And so they try and I put too much glue on, so I'm just taking a bit off with the metal. They know what you have in your army, so they try and customize theirs to yours. Now, when I used to play a lot of 40k back in 5th edition with my mates, they used to hate it because they try and do that. They try and customize their army with the list that I did the last time round. And with the 4th edition codex, it was so customizable that no two army lists I brought were ever the same. So one week I'd come along with truck rush. I'd have like 7 or 8 trucks full of boys and just rush them. The next week I'd bring like a dread bash. So it'd be like loads of killer cans, loads of dreads. The week after that I'd do like the orc horde. You know what I mean? So you have to mix up your tactics if you're able to. And not everyone is able to. I'm aware of that. Because I'm a bit of a nutjob and I bought a load of orcs when I got into them. But if you can do it, always mix up your list when you're playing against your mates. Keep them on their toes. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's the best way to counter that, I suppose. Is always sort of mix up your list. Bring something that's totally different. We have Isaiah saying, very useful tip. We have Dreadwa saying, the Dread Captain was on plumbing and heating engineers for years, mate. I'd be a bit worried if you didn't get a standard. I know it's a plumbing tool, but apart from that, it cuts pipes. It cuts styrene tubing. That's all that matters to me. We have 2 of them with silencers so far, so they're looking alright. They're not looking too bad. I'll throw one on him. I might as well finish off while I have the tube cutter and the correct size tube. I'll finish off cutting tube for these guys. Who's doing what? We have David Ferdinand say, did you know that there's Tamiya tweezers for hobby modelling around 18 quid each? I did not know that tweezers from Tamiya modelling were about 18 quid. But now I do. And that does not surprise me. Quite a lot of the stuff for Tamiya is, like, it's good quality stuff, but you really need to be spending that much on tools. Like I said, I just sliced the rod with me scalpel and I want to make rivets, and then I just sort of stab them into place and throw some glue on them. This is the most finicky I get with stuff for orcs, and that's just because I need the rod to be flush. Because if it's not flush, it visually looks bad, especially if you're doing pistons and stuff. You want them to look good. You know what I mean? Like with orcs, you can get away with some stuff. Like I was saying, the likes of this, the WA banner for the knob. This is all rough bits. Like I've whittled around the edges of it, so visually it's fine. You know what I mean? These bits here, they're all scrap bits. Some of these pieces here that I have, they're all scrap bits of plastic art I've held onto and just whittled them down and weathered them a bit and cut them into the shape that I want. And I did exactly what I just did with that rod there. I just drew this out roughly until I was happy, because you can just get a pencil and you can draw on styrene rod, you know what I mean? Or sheet styrene as well, and it doesn't matter, because you can just rub it off again. Whatever, I'll do that later. But yeah, just, you know, it's very forgiving stuff. Like it's pretty straightforward. You can always just get a pencil and knock yourself out and just go creative. And don't be afraid to do some conversions, like what we're doing now. Like I could end up ruining these, but I think you have to be willing to make happy mistakes. I talked about it in a video I did before. Don't be afraid. So who's chatting about what? Have Underdog Painting has popped in. Hello, Underdog Painting. Philippe said, how do you think those freebooters armies will Be nice to build if they release rules for them. Reloot his army. Interesting. We'll see what happens. Steve-O said, totally, first time I bought my Gorkonaut out, he took a shitload of last cannons and just... Yeah, he got fried turn 1. Yeah, that used to happen to me in the old editions. I think the worst that happened to me with a Morkonaut, I had a Morkonaut, and I had like 3 units of boys around it, and my elder mate, turn 1, used the elder equivalent of a last cannon, hit it, penetrated it, got it to explode, and it took 40 or 50. It took about 40 or 50 orc boys with it. And I was like, right, that's not getting used again. Who else is saying what? We have Casey Mad saying, I can't stand it when my buddies ask what list I'm bringing, just so they can tailor to it. Come on, guys, just place a nice, fluffy game. Well, I suppose. I don't know. I've never really understood that mentality. I have always liked to do... Well, when I've played with me mates, like if I was bringing a Stomper, I'd tell them, look, I'm bringing a Stomper. You know what I mean? Just not to take the piss too much. But apart from that, I wouldn't... I'd expect to show up on the day and just sort of build a list that's that's an all-comer list. So it'll be able to deal with armor and a lot of troop spam. You know, it needs to be more well-rounded. Because specialist lists just get nerfed too often. So Colin says, I could grab a massive army off eBay for not much money. So my brother grabbed a couple of Riptides. Oh, fun times, Riptides. Tyler says, Tower a good source of bits for looting if you don't want all your stuff to look like it came from Space Marines. The guns don't look as weedy as Guard or Elf stuff. That's true. I might have a hammerhead or 2 stashed away somewhere. Colin's saying, well, the sister grabbed 2 trucks and 4 boxes of looters. Nice. Nice. Gamers on games. What's the story, bud? Showing up. Sup, bro? I'm you know, I'm catching up on the chat. You're all chatting away quite a lot. Dreadwire Gaming, yeah. Other than boys, Sean is saying, other than boys, which are in every list, I've only played Storm Boys more than once, and every other type I haven't repeated for 8th edition. Get yourself some commandos, they're good crack. Can't go wrong. David Fernandes, you got any tips for making sure the magnets are on the right polarity for all your models? Some guys have like a tool that they make. I don't really bother with magnets. Mind you, these guys in here, they have magnets inside their arm that I did years ago. But they're really weak. You can see. Oh, I don't know if you can... Actually, the best way I could probably show you that there's magnets. There's a really thin drill bit. And that's sort of... Yeah, so there's magnets inside these arms. And what I found was, I found a video years ago where a guy had built a tool like this, just a piece of rod or whatever, or a sprue, and glued one magnet on one end and one magnet on the other end, and then painted it. And then I think he like kept it at his desk, so that way he always knew which way the polarity was for gluing arms and stuff on. So you need to do something. You need to build a little jig, get a piece of sprue or whatever, and just paint one end of it, so you know at least one polarity, and then you can just compare your stuff, constantly have it the right way around. That's what I do. I don't really bother with magnets too much because I have that many units. I don't need to magnetize stuff for extra options. I have that many of them, you know. But yeah, I've seen people have made little jigs like that, little tools to keep stuff on track. Who is saying what in the chat? We have... So that was Dave. Colin is saying his sister-in-law is fond of rolling tons of dice. Well, then if she picks orcs, she will be able to roll buckets of dice at people. They may not do very much, but she'll get to roll a lot of them. So that'll be pretty entertaining in and of itself. That's how I learned that I can hold at least 100 dice. They're pretty big hands. I did that when I started playing orcs. I checked how many dice I could hold in my hand before they started falling out, and it's at least 100. So I can hold 200 dice comfortably in my hands collectively. It's been done before. Dreadwell Game is saying, Dave, keep one magnetized weapon on your desk for reference for polarity. Yeah, just have a reference, like. We have Orc stuff saying he uses a compass for the checking the polarity. Dreadwell saying she may want to avoid GW Orc dice. It'll cost a fortune that way. Yeah, and they've been doing this thing that's kind of odd where they'll have a symbol on the 6 and they'll have a different symbol on the 1, which kind of confuses some people. And my advice for someone starting out with orcs is get a load of green dice, and you can't go wrong, really. I have a fairly large bag of dice, and then I have some custom dice that I bought off of some of the guys on the forum. And they look pretty sweet. Glue on another silencer on here. They're roughly about the same size. Roughly. Making sure the alignment is decent. Because that would do my nut in. And saggy silencers. Nobody wants a saggy silencer. You know what I mean? Be an absolute travesty had to have a saggy silencer. So they need to be all lined up. And I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Like, I was a weird kid when I was growing up. Like, I'd build a Lego kit from scratch, but my uncle used to find it amusing that the blocks had to be exactly the same color on each side of it. Like, I don't know. Like, I have weird habits. I don't think I have any particular sort of trying to think at the same time. That is aligned, isn't it? I think so. Annoying me now. It looks alright. His is a little shorter than his, is it? No, they're about the same size. A little shorter. Someone's compensating. So that's how it's looking so far. We have the silencers. We're getting there slowly. I was worried that they just look like extended barrels, but they're looking alright. So I was talking about these beveled sluggers. How much of a pain in the ass they are. So I'm going to do this one here. But first things first, I'm going to change the blade on my knife. Because that's one thing I've learned the hard way. Is to change the blade more often. Sharp. Because I was whittling away. Oh, fresh blade. We get these out of the way. Dispose of this one correctly. Add it to the pile of blades I have. Keep going. Who is cracking on about what? We have Steve-O. I like to piss off my opponent by asking them to load the dice into my hands when I can't manage to load them all up. I've had mates do that before. I've also had mates help me move my mobs at 30 Orc Boys because you just get browned off yourself. You know what I mean? You're trying to move them and it's like, oh, I'll move one, I'll move two, and it's just like, just move them. We have Colin saying it's a great way to brown people's trousers when you chuck 150 dice. I've had Borny buses before that have just deleted units. A Borny bus, the terminology is when you have a truck loaded up to the hilt with Borna boys. And back in the older editions, it was literally you'd show up with the template, and whatever you hit with that template it'd be that number of hits times the amount of models with a Borna. And because Orc vehicles were up on top, you were able to just like chuck a Borna template out of the truck, and then that was it. So what would happen is you put the template down, say it got 7 hits, and you had like 10 Bornas in a unit. That's 70 hits. So you'd be rolling like 70 wounds, man. It used to be hilarious, and they used to just delete stuff. We have Lego Yumi Boat. Orc stuff saying close enough for orcs. Treadwell came and keeps retracting messages. Keep the old blade for edge chipping, mate. Do you know what's actually best for edge chipping? He's using like a cheapo Dremel. It's really good for it. I don't throw out my old blades. I have a small stack of them there. Steve-O saying instructions to mech guns are crap. Better to build in different order to what the instructions say. I agree with you totally, mate. What I tend to do with kits is I'll clip it all out and I'll dry fit it. I won't just glue it together the way it tells me to. I like cutting them out and then cleaning the mold lines off and going from there. You know what I mean? Each to their own, I suppose. Trying to follow the instructions can be a bit of a pain. I'm going to bring this to the edge of the table so I can try and get rid of this bevel. It's annoying me. Beveled a little bit. I've had to trim it back. Ah, annoyance. I'm going to have to foil this flush so that the silencer isn't wonky. It's going to take me a little while. A little bit annoying, but we'll get there, you know. The patience. The devil's in the detail, man. Because it'll look visually better, you know, if it's all straight and aligned. I know people are like, with orcs, you can get away with being a little bit lazy. But I want it to look visually good and appealing. You know what I mean? Like you can have that sort of scrap aesthetic without losing too much. Still, like things we have to take into account, like humans. You know, we're able to see patterns and we're able to pick out detail. If it's like if something's not straight or aligned, and we'll be able to pick it out. Like say this board here, if one of these squares was slightly smaller than the others, you'd be able to pick it out straight away with your eye because it's just part of the way we sort of evolve to recognize patterns, pick them out. It's all part of survival. Right. Well, you want another one for this guy who's sort of shooting in the air, but whatever. Like you just don't care. Who's saying what? We have Steve-O saying if you build as the instructions say, yep, leads to parts not lining up correctly. That does not surprise me. Big Daddy Joe, born in templates in the current system. I get you, man. I know I was heartbroken when we lost the Bornas. Do you know what really sort of rubs me up the wrong way, alright? So we had Bornas who fired the same size template as Space Marine Bornas. But when we get our Bornas stats, it's D3. Why isn't it D6 like Imperial Flamers? You know what I mean? That annoyed me to no end. Is it because we get to put them in units? Or people being bitter? You know what I mean? Is that what happened? Was there too many players that suffered at the wrath of the Bornibus? Is that what happened? Because I'm not too sure. I think so. Must have been some bitter players out there. I also don't get why orcs are movement 5. That just does not make sense to me. But sure. We'll make do with what we can. Like I said, gonna make more tubes. So if you've never used one of these tube cutters before, just tighten it up and twist the tubing at the same time. So that's where you'll see this disc here, and then these two rollers move. So this disc cuts and these two rollers move while I tighten that screw at the bottom to move this arm in. So it's pretty simple. This is only really, you know, I'm sure there's loads of you out there who've used this already, but if you've never used one of these before, I'll explain it. Who's saying what? Redwire Gaming is saying, I'm dropping a new episode tomorrow on Bits Boxing for anyone as nerdy as me. It's all about forgetting the instructions and mixing things up, like Skarnir with his Lego. My super perfectionist mode. Scorches though? I can't remember off the top of my head what the stats are like for Scorches, because I never used them, even though they were decent. Big Daddy Joe, we can advance and charge pretty easily, so 6 inches will make us too mobile, in my opinion. I suppose we do have our here we go going first and whatever else, so it's easier for us. But it's just in the context of orcs physically being slow, just doesn't make sense. It's more of a hangover from like when we were low initiative. D6 auto hits and AP -1. Yeah, it still has the -1 AP. It's pretty good. Pretty good. I like the ideas of having Born bombers and dropping their bombs. But more importantly, when they blow up, if they're in amongst the enemy's units, I like the idea of mortal wounds being dished out. I really do like that concept. D6? D6 or D3 mortal wounds? And get interesting. Very interesting indeed. What are you guys all working on while I'm slowly cutting some rod, which is the most entertaining video you've ever seen? I did plan on painting, but I decided to put the commandos together. I know Steve-O's putting his mech guns together. Anybody else gluing anything together, getting any paint going? He's all going quiet on me now. Because you're all busy gluing your fingers together. Been there before, man. I've been there. Oh, nice. Why do you even stick an ammo clip in the bottom of this? Suppose I could do that. Bits box. We have Philippe saying I'm painting 14 boys and 9 grots. Sweet, man. Sweet. Keep chipping away on that that horde. We have Casey saying I'm painting a Lord of Contagion. Nice. Very nice. I don't know if you saw my Plague Marine, Casey, but there you go. I've mostly painted a Plague Marine. Death Guard. I've tried. Haven't finished it though. It's from the Conquest magazine. I'm still waiting for the rest of my issues for the Conquest magazine. I got like issues 1 and 2. And then I got charged for the next few issues, but I still don't have them. Still waiting. Should be interesting. Because I'll make 2 decent kill teams from the first few issues. We have Steve-O is currently building the spotting platform for the Groff with binoculars while planning how kit bashing convert the other kit to look different with the truck parts. I know the bit you're on about. The way the guns are assembled, the big mech guns are kind of odd. The way. I don't even have one to hand to go into detail and discuss how weird they are, but they're pretty odd the way they're assembled, because there's like a base to them, then there's the shield plates, and the gun doesn't actually sit in the shield plate. Sort of the arm overhangs. It's really weird the way it's set up, but I suppose it looks cool. That one's actually pretty well aligned as well. There you go, you can see how nitpicky I am. I'm like, it has to be filed flush and trimmed flush so it all aligns. But yeah, nobody wants a saggy silencer. But I like to keep them all flush and aligned. And I wanted to put an ammo piece on his gun there. I have an old Schwim in the bits box. What I have. Let's see. I want to pick an ammo clip. Where me bits for me ammo clips. Oh, there, that'll do. Almost like I planned it. Stick. Bayonet on it. Ah, no. Won't do that. I'll do the ammo clip. So Philippe is saying I'm painting my grots like Smurfs. Blue skin and white clothes and hoods and all. Did you green stuff? Not only the Smurfs have that hat. If you green stuff a hat on them, they'd be absolutely perfect, man. But I've seen like orcs have been painted loads of different colors. I've seen orcs that have been painted up red. I've seen orcs that have been painted up like in various whites and browns and yellows. I've seen orcs that have been painted in blues as well. Oh, they look the part, man. You know what I mean? You really can paint your orcs whatever color you want. They don't have to be green, but traditionally they tend to be GW lore. Here we go, look. There's another mold line that's pain in the ass. Look at this one. Pain. Right across like 3 ridges. It's not until you build some of the newer kits that you realise just how outdated the orc sprues are. There's massive gaps in them compared to some of the newer stuff. But there's actually a bullet here, so I'm gonna have to cut this bullet off so it'll glue in place. If and you get me. Lines up flush. Probably crying. It's like, no. Whittle it down without taking my thumb off. Doubt it. We'll get there. So yeah, I just want to put this ammo clip on this guy. And I'm not used to whittling in front of the camera. You ever suffer from it's called whittler's thumb, especially when you're doing this work on the plastic card sheeting. We end up with a load of little cuts on your thumb. Some of the guys do that. Thankfully I don't. Can be a bit of a bad habit. There we go. What have we got? We have Philippe saying, nope, I'm using the really old Night Gobos kit. The one in which they were as tall as someone. The plastic one, yeah, I know. I think I know the one you're on about. You're painting them blue. And the rest of them white. Could be, yeah, I suppose that could work. Interesting to see a video of it or a picture, so show it up, man. What's wrong with that? Interesting, alright. We have Dreadwire Gaming saying orc skin can change any colour. They are fungal based. There's something in the lore about it. I can't remember word for word. I think back in the day, back in ye oldie days, if you look at the old lore, orcs used to do something similar to what Kroot do. So orc blood, I remember. Because people, that's another question people have. It's like, what colour is orc blood? And there's no one definitive answer. In the old school sort of fluff, they gave an explanation. It depended on what the orc had eaten last as to what colour his blood was. Me, I like to paint mine sort of a dark green. And I also like to paint the inside of the orc's mouth dark green as well. What I mean about a line on it? Line it up. That would do my zogging nut in. Big massive clip. I should probably glue like more pouches and patches and stuff, yeah. But I'll probably need to do more like ammo. These guys. Because I would think that like commandos would have like a load of spare ammo on them and stuff. Because they go in behind enemy lines. See what we have here, look. Here's a prime example. So that, my friends, is an air bubble. Well, I have my knife in there. We'll have to fill that with green stuff. And it happens. Happens with resin miniatures. Shouldn't really happen with Forge World, taking into account they charge you an extortionate price for them. Sadly, it does indeed happen. So that ammo clip is glued in. That's it. That actually looks pretty swank, I have to say. I'm liking it. That's him done. I think we have one more dude. Gonna do the silencer on one more commando, and then we're gonna probably wrap it up then. See if he's got any air bubbles. We'll do one last commando. Call it a day. We have 6+ Steve saying, I'm the only one who was... Am I the only one who was pleased at how small models are? Always smaller than they look on the box. But I just think they look really cool and compact. It depends. I think half the problem is that people take like really close up pictures of them. So your sense of scale, if you're looking at images online, is skewed. So you might think that the miniatures are bigger. Because when I took pictures of the new buggies and stuff in Warhammer World, people are like, oh my god, they're tiny. It's like, but yeah, you've been looking at like A4 size pictures of them. where they've been blown up to look bigger. You know what I mean? So I don't mind. I think the miniatures are big enough, the size that they are, because scale creep wise, they are wargaming miniatures. And if it's not practical to transport them around, how are you supposed to play the game like? Orc stuff is saying if you cross hatch the plastic joint surfaces, then glue will work its way into the crevices and melt the plastic, so it'll almost work as a filler as it glues. Yeah, but then I'd have to cross hatch the surfaces. I'd need some tool to cross hatch them as well. Well, actually, no, I could do it with my knife, but normally I'd sort of bother doing it on arms and joins and stuff, but I'm just feeling lazy at the moment. 6 plus Steve was saying mech guns look really big, but this model looks really cute. Yeah, it's the same thing, man. Like, you're used to looking at images of them online. You have to take that into account. I think the only time you don't suffer from that is when you have something to compare it to size-wise, like perspective. Dreadwire Gamer is saying they look big on the box because of the grots, lol. Scale creep is real. Scale creep is most definitely real. It definitely is. Now, if I had one of me Rogue Trader era orcs, oh, even here's a better one. I don't have a standard Space Marine on me. What I do have, this is a Rogue Trader Space Marine that normally held heavy weapon. And you can see how like he's squat, but even still, he's pretty small. Do I have a standard Space Marine? I have a Chaos Space. I see he's hunched over a bit, but even still, it's ridiculous. This isn't a really new miniature either. So you're going from like Rogue Trader stuff, Chaos Space Marine, Primaris Marine, getting big. Like I'm saying, this isn't exactly like a fair representation, as this guy is kind of squatted over a bit, hunched down. But even still, look at him. Old skills. This is probably a better representation. There, look, there's a scout. Rogue Trader scout. You can just see, like, with the scouts and stuff, it's getting massive. Look at the size difference. Comes up to the Primaris' elbow, I think. Yeah, it's just getting bigger, man. Like, the bigger bases. Everything. Massive. We'll be going around with warlord-sized titans for orc boys in about 20 years. It'll be hilarious. Steve was saying the grots in this set are so cool. They are actually pretty cool. I have a couple of them. I only bought one set. They're full of character. They have like cables and welding torches and drilling tools and stuff. They're pretty cool. Orc stuff is saying Smoggy and Zero are saying nothing. Smoggy and Zero, for those who don't know, are Orc stuff's titans. And they are huge. They were supposed to be Stompers, but they're like Gargant size. So Orc stuff tends to have a fair bit of scale creep on his stuff, because it, you know, he might start off with the templates for a Warhound Titan, but the end result ends up being a lot bigger than a Warlord Titan, which is hilarious. So Casey's saying, I want that Grok crew for conversions. You can always buy a gun, Casey, and then sell the gun on, or just mount the gun in on something, I suppose. Like, it's not, like, it's deep enough, but doable. Grok crew I wanted that are gone are the Forge World Grok crew. They are no longer available, sadly. They're gonzo. They are no longer available. Which is a pity, because those guys were full of character. Absolutely full of character. Here's another silencer. Adjusted a little bit. Just a smidge. Too much. You don't want to ruin it. That'll do. There we go. They are the Forge World Commandos. Bitch. But they look half decent. I suppose the next stage with these guys will be putting some sand on the base and then throwing a bit of primer on them. And that's how it's looking. So Dreadwild Gamer is saying it's nice to hear you're happy with your new toys, Steve-O. Casey said, well, I never realised how much bigger it's gotten. Yeah, scale creep has gotten big, man. I think like Road Trader Orcs, if I had one handy, they're about the size of Gretchen. Orc stuff saying, it's not my fault GW gave a claw stomp a transport 30. Well, yeah, okay. I suppose you could physically fit the miniatures in. Dreadwild Gaming is saying, so who do we think is the best third-party supplier for orcs? That is a good question. Third party, I suppose it depends what you're looking for. I like some of the Cromlech bits, like the bionic bits. I like those. But I'm not a massive fan of the faces that they sculpt for the orcs. I'm just not a fan of the aesthetic. Like, there's nothing wrong with the sculpts. I just don't dig them. For faces, I like Spellcrow. Spellcrow do some orc stuff, some orc faces. They have some. I like the faces on some of their stuff, and they also have some conversion bits. So there's a good spectrum. Foxbox do a few bits and pieces as well. I have a couple of bits here. I have some of the engine blocks that Foxbox do. I just haven't used them yet. So I just need to throw them into some orc trucks. They've yet to be washed and glued and mounted, but I'm just being lazy. But you have a few bits off of Foxbox, of a few bits off of Cromlech, of a few bits off of Spellcrow. It just depends on what you're looking for and what style you like visually for the bits and pieces. I don't think there's any one supplier that's like the absolute best. I think the different ones are good at different things. Like I said, I like some of the bionic bits and stuff that Cromlech do. And I like a lot of Spellcrow's heads, and then other bits like armored wheels and engine blocks. I like what Foxbox does for them. So I think that's it for now, guys. We have any plastic card company. Alright, go on, we'll finish on the advice here. So Philippe is asking about any plastic card company. Look for... You ready, Philippe? Get your pen ready. Look for evergreen scale models. There's also Plastruck. They're like two top brands. And apart from that, if you're looking for like cheap styrene, just look on eBay. You can get like cheap sheet styrene. You can also just try and scavenge around for plastic yourself. But evergreen, you'll get them in like model shops and like model train shops and stuff. It's a little bit pricey, but it's good stuff. Dreadwild Gamer sends Cromlech, the green one, Wargame exclusives, Spellcrow, Max Mini. There's also more. Yeah, there's loads of them, man. It depends what you're looking for. Some guys do decent guns and cannons. Like if you're looking for like a Storm Tiger, like on the kill tank. Whoop. If you're looking for like a Storm Tiger cannon, there's some companies out there who do good ones. There's also guys who do really nice tank tracks. There's a load of them. There's loads of them, man. Casey says Bits Pluto has some nice cannons and lobbers amongst their cool things. So I haven't even heard of Bits Pluto. That sounds interesting. We have Dreadwild Gaming. Wish some of them were more productive, as I love most of what they do. And then Philippe is saying thanks. No problem. Right, guys. I have the silencers on my 5 Forge World commandos done. I'll probably aim to get like a unit of 15 of these guys done, built before the codex is done out. Like I said, I'll have one unit of these guys, and then we'll go from there. So we're gonna wrap it up, and we'll do another hangout probably early next week. I'm thinking just days off for me, probably Monday or Tuesday. We'll have another hangout if you guys like hanging out, and I might actually get some paint on these kits. We can do some painting, or we can do more assembly, depending on what you guys want to do. Just get some orcs ready for the codex before it comes out. That's what I'm aiming to do. So thanks for dropping in for the hangout, guys. If you're not subscribed, feel free to subscribe. If you liked the video, like it, and we'll see you for the next one. And this is where I try and figure out how to turn the stream off. So take it easy, guys. Thanks for swinging by.